Hey y'all, good morning everyone. Hey y'all, good morning everyone. Okay, I'm Audrey Gale Hall, pronouns she, her, hers, they, them, theirs, sie, here, hers, don't call me he, but everything else is pretty much cool. I'm your membership coordinator here at Emerson Unitarian Universalist Church, and in case you're at the wrong Emerson, this is the one in Houston, Texas. There are a bunch around the continent. But we're unique. Here's our mission statement. Our beloved community of faith, reason, and affection welcomes all to grow in mind and spirit as together we build a better world. We are a church in many places. Some of us, many of us this morning are here in the pews, and others are joining online through YouTube, from home, or wherever else they might be, maybe even later in the week. We are a space-time continuum. If you're joining us for the first time this morning, thank you for taking a chance on us. If you're a returning member, thank you for coming back. I know the virus and everything else has made things complicated, and we're glad to see you again. After service, you're invited to stick around in the gathering place, which is the lobby you just walked through, where we'll have some more snacks, and I think the coffee should still be out if you need more. God knows some of you do. One of our lay leaders, Marilyn Rambo, is going to be hosting Zoom social time from her home. Thank you, Marilyn. So those of you on YouTube, check the comments at the end of the service. I'll remind you. We'd also love to make you a visitor name tag. If you look down and you don't have a name tag and you want one, let us know by filling out a yellow visitor card, which is on the table out and to the left, and leaving it in the basket. If we run out of visitor cards, feel free to harass me or email me at audrey@emersonhouston.org. Once you fill out a Connect card, we're going to send you our e-blast, and I'll hit you up and annoy you about all the things you can attend so that you can get more connected to our congregation. We value consent in this church, and since the multiple pandemics, get ready y'all, of COVID, fascism, racism, capitalism, and now monkeypox, are in full swing still, I want to remind y'all that we have agreed on a system where people who need to wear masks and social distance are able to sit here on my right, your left, and people who are unwilling to mask or social distance or are unable to wear a mask for some reason are able to sit on this side. It's the other way, y'all. Ignore what I said. But I just want to remind us of that. You don't have to move right now, but moving forward, let's remember that until the board tells me otherwise. This is the balance we have struck so far. And now it's time for some call and response. What mode are we in? What mode are we in? We're in worship mode, right? So can you pull out your phones and show me as you change into worship mode or airplane mode, as you silence your ringers, as you turn the volume all the way down? Thank you. We are in worship mode, y'all. And one more thing. This is an intergenerational congregation, so we welcome all elders, middle-aged people, young adults, youth, children. If you want to attend summer Sunday school, which is mostly for youth and children, during this worship service, which is, again, a time designed for our youngest visitors and friends and members, you can feel free to follow today's teachers, Beth and John Hammer. Where are y'all? Here's Beth. John is also in the building. Feel free to follow them during the offering. I'll remind you again, which is going to take you straight out those doors. Now, whether you're here in person or online today or another day, take a moment to breathe in and breathe out and picture the dozens of friends, neighbors, and those you have not met yet who are taking part in this service, now or another time. And now I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as you can and as you wish
This is just the prelude.
for our prelude.
Yeah. Okay.
Hymn number 128 in the Gray Songbook, For All That Is Life.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good. services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days light.
Good morning. I'm Jill Rose. Emerson has been my church home for a very long time, during which I have played many roles. But before I start, I would like to thank Alejandra Gonzalez for all her support throughout this project and many, many more. Any errors or confusion is not due to her. It's probably due to my mess up, so give us grace. I hope you had a chance to see the thought for this service in the pre-service announcement reel. I recognize that there are many issues very worthy of consideration at this time. I'm not going there today. Today's service is a result of my own reflections on what is doing our best and what is being good enough, and how our answers to these questions reflect our Unitarian Universalist principle, calling for us to respect the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and by extension, also reflects on how that principle respects diversity within our church and our denomination. So welcome. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on life's journey, whichever your pronouns, whether you've walked in or rolled in or dialed in, whomever you love, you are welcome here. Our opening words this morning are also responsive. Many parts of this service ask for your participation in song or responses. Our opening words are from Tess Baumberger, and they are, "We travel this road together." From the busyness of our day, we gather once a week to remember who we are, to dream of who we might become.
We travel this road together.
As companions on this journey, we share the milestones we meet along the way. Individual moments of joy and sorrow become shared moments of comfort and celebration.
We travel this road together.
We share this journey across differences of belief and opinion because we value diversity and because we care for one another.
We travel this road together.
Today, as we take the next steps, let us notice our fellow travelers, the burdens that they carry, the songs that inspire their hearts.
We travel this road together.
As we gather in beloved community, let us open the holy havens of our hearts. Let us share the sacred places of our souls, for we are pilgrims who share a common path.
We travel this road together.
Because I'm notoriously bad at lighting anything, Annie New is helping me by lighting the chalice today. So thank you, Annie.
As we kindle this flame, may it spark in each of us connection and commitment to this living tradition and to each other.
Again today, we are relying on videos for our music and our accompanists. The piano was apparently having reconstruction work or something. So please stand as you are willing and able, and to sing along with our opening hymn, Here We Have Gathered. For a long time, I was a teacher, a kindergarten teacher, and I have a lot of favorite children's books. Today, I want to share two of my favorites, and together, they are about doing our best and being good enough. Now, when I talk about doing our best, I'm talking about what the things that we know are right and good. I'm not talking about doing our best at lying or cheating or any of that kind of stuff. So you take that as a given. I would love to read a couple of my favorite books today and show you the pictures, but copyright law says I can't, so I'm just going to talk about them. The first book I want to talk about is Miss Rumphius. It was written and illustrated by Barbara Cooney, and the person telling the story is a little girl, a little Alice. Now, spoiler alert if you don't know the story is about her great aunt, Miss Alice Rumphius, who lived over 100 years ago. When she was, she was a little girl, Miss Alice Rumphius told her grandfather that when she grew up, she wanted to travel the world and then go and live by the sea. He told her there was one more thing she needed to do. She must do something to make the world more beautiful, to make it a better place. Well, Miss Rumphius did grow up. She became a librarian, and she did travel the world, and she did, as she got older, she went and lived by the sea. But she still hadn't found the thing she could do to make the world a better place. Now, Miss Rumphius loved gardens, she loved flowers, and eventually she decided that she was going to strew lupine seeds. Now, lupines are very like bluebonnets. She was going to strew these seeds along the open pathways, along the roads, in the open fields, creating lasting beauty for the entire area. She took what she was good at and she shared it. A small thing, but it made a difference. Little Alice, who tells the story, tells her great aunt that when she grows up, she wants to travel and then live by the sea. Her great aunt tells her she must also do the third thing. She must do something to make the world more beautiful. Little Alice says, yes, she will, but I do not know yet what that will be. Still, she is committed to doing her best to make the world a better place, whatever and however that may be. I have also loved Amy Rosenthal Krause's book, The OK Book, illustrated by Tom Lichtenfeld. If you don't know this book, it's a great book. I would love to have shared the illustrations. Bottom line, the author uses the letters O and K to draw a stick figure. Let's see if I can get this right. I should have made a slide. So here's the little stick figure doing various things. He does various things with varying success, but great enjoyment. And looking forward to being good at something someday. And like little Alice, not knowing yet what that would be. It may not be a huge something. There may be others that are better at it. That will be okay. And right now, the stick figure person is good enough. Well, I have a couple of stories from my teaching days. The first one starts with a little boy in my kindergarten class, Colin. Now, Colin was a smart kid. He was a nice kid. He was, a good kid all around. But Colin was not good at writing letters, and he was really not good at art. Well, one day, his mother and I were talking, and she said to me, she would really like Colin to be good at art. I said, are you good at art? No. Is your husband good at art? No. Well, it seemed unlikely that Colin was going to be good at art. The next story is from an even earlier time when I taught first grade, actually, and there was a boy in the class named Eric. He came into the class, as I say, first grade. He drew the most amazing Revolutionary War soldiers. He had the British soldiers with their red uniforms and their dark pants and their lace cravats and their gold buttons and the sort of belt thing, lace at the cuffs, standing, rifles. I mean, it was amazing. And one day, he took a white piece of paper, black crayon, drew 4 squares, and just drew off a 4-cell cartoon. I mean, this kid had talent. Well, back in those days, and in the district where I taught, we didn't have manipulatives to teach math. So if I were going to do a math lesson, I had chalk on the chalkboard. So if I were going to make 2 and 2, I'd do 2 sons plus 2 sons, and how many is that? 4 sons, all right. Well, as I was scribbling up these pictures, one little boy in the class said, Mrs. Rose, you don't draw so good. And Eric, bless his heart, said, she's just drawing fast. I had to laugh. I said, Eric, no matter how slowly I did it, it wasn't going to get any better. Well, we are all different. Along the way, we learn what we're good at, and we tend to do more of that. And Colin and I were never going to be good at art, even if we tried our best. It was not going to be the thing we did best. Colin and I would be more effective and do our best with other skills or talents It's okay not to be good at everything. It's okay to still be looking for what you can do well. Now, I don't see many kids here today, but I'm going to tell you, for the children who may see this later, the children who are here today, I wish for you that you know that you have value whenever you are doing your best and at whatever you try. And like the little okay figure, Miss Rumphius and little Alice, you have the time and the space to discover what that is. I expect in your own way, you will figure it out how you can make this world a better place. This congregation, your church family, is here for you as you find your way. Enjoy the journey.
Giving out of what is our own can lead us into transformative action. As a community of faith, we collect an offering not for ourselves or our congregation, but to give to others as a collective gift from our community and as one way to live out our shared values. Please give with a generous heart to support our Share the Plate recipient, Memorial Assistance Ministries, or MAM. They offer a range of programs to help families do more and go further than they can do alone. The programs are focused on building financially stable families, a stronger workforce, and healthy, supportive communities. I'm going to take a pause to make sure that people online can hear. Test, test. Am I on the mic? Okay. MAM staff and volunteers do their best to ensure clients are able to move on from an immediate problem and work toward a bright future for themselves and their families. And you can find more information at mamhouston.org. Also, as usual, 25% of our Share the Plate offerings will go to Meals on Wheels, a program of interfaith ministries for Greater Houston. We have 3 ways to give. You can go to our webpage for online giving, mail a check to the church, or rise to place your offerings in a moment in one of our plates at both sides of the chancel here in the sanctuary or at the box in the back in the center. Also at this time, in a moment again, Beth and John and everyone else who wants, especially youth and children, you may make your graceful exit down the hall to Sunday school.
Well, once again, hang on, got to get to my right page here. Before we start the offering, I have a few words which may not surprise you. Years ago, I heard someone say that one reason congregations are encouraged to sing during services is that singing increases the oxygen flow to our brains when sitting quietly for a long time, so perhaps you won't fall asleep. So our offertory music is a little bit different this morning. I encourage you to join in seated, unless you're up making your offering contribution. I encourage you to join in the video singing hymn number 403, From You I Receive, the words on the screen while we come with our offering. I will start the meditation, which comes next, at the point where the music ends. If you are still making your offering and the music has ended and I start the meditation, consider it a walking meditation. Please stay seated to sing. Our meditation this morning by Ashley Horan, The Holy Work of Showing Up, was written as something for individuals to read. I have altered it very slightly for a group meditation. How is it with your soul? This is the question that John Wesley, Anglican priest and founder of Methodism, was known to ask of participants in small group reflection groups. So, beloveds, how is it with your souls? If your response is anything like mine, I want to invite you to pause, take a deep breath, say a prayer, sing a song, light your chalice, feel the force of gravity pulling us all toward the same center, whatever helps you feel more rooted and less alone. Now do it again and again. And once you feel that rootedness and connection, hear this. You are loved beyond belief. You are enough. You are precious, your work and your life matter, and you are not alone. You are part of a we, a great cloud of witnesses, living and dead, who have insisted that this beautiful, broken world of ours is a blessing, worthy of both deep gratitude and fierce protection. Our ancestors and our descendants are beckoning us, compelling us onward toward greater connection, greater compassion, greater commitment to one another and to the earth. Together, we are resilient and resourceful enough to say yes to that call, to make it our life's work in 1,000 different ways, knowing that we can do no other than bind ourselves more tightly together and throw ourselves into the holy work of showing up again and again, to be part of the building of the world of which we dream, but we have not yet seen. Our special music today is just for listening, or singing, or humming along, or whistling, if you like.
With love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, and our heart is in a holy place. In a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, yeah, we are blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place. When we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our hearts stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place, then our heart is in a holy place, then our heart is in a holy place.
And now for a different kind of sharing. I'd like you to reflect for yourselves on the questions of the service. Perhaps you saw them in the announcement reel. What are you good at? What are you not so good at? And when are you good enough? So what are you good at? We often seem to expect children to be good at everything, and as we grow older, we winnow out the things we are not so good at. When are we effective? Today I'm sharing a few ideas that I continue to ponder. What is doing our best and what is good enough? There are two sides to being good enough. Good enough is implicitly a comparative term that too often qualifies who we are, not just how we do. It seems to be a human condition to use comparison to determine if we are good enough. Pride, greed, envy, aspects of comparing are three of the seven deadly sins in Christianity and may go back to the book in the Bible of Proverbs. More contemporaneously, there is a tendency to compare jobs, schools, sports, games, kids, cars, skills, homes, politics, religion. Increasingly, it seems to me that everything is turned into a zero-sum game. I win, you lose, or you win, and I lose. I think commercial ads, movies, media, how we were brought up, all play into the comparison game. From my years of teaching, it struck me that many parents use their children as pawns in the game. They needed their child to be the best at everything, and they got their own value from their children's successes. Are we good enough? Comparison with others can tend to undermine our own confidence. A favorite quote of mine is from James C. Collins. He was an American researcher, an author, a speaker, and his subject is actually about business development, business management, but I think it has broader ramifications. I've used it before. He said, "Comparison," a great teacher once told me, "is the cardinal sin of modern life. It traps us in a game we cannot win. Once we define ourselves in terms of others, we lose the freedom to shape our own lives." I used to tell my daughters when they were in their preteens, teens, whether they listened to me or not, don't compare yourself with others. There will always be someone faster, smarter, funnier, shorter, taller, whatever, than you. You do your best, and you are good enough. Even though other parents were getting SAT coaching for their children, I asked my daughters, why would they want to go to a school where they may feel they were unable to keep up because of artificially inflated scores? They were good enough who they were. Now, from my teacher days, one of our goals for our kindergarten children was to help them learn to become self-evaluative. These kids range in age from 5 to 7, of course. Too hard? Amazingly not. Give them a chance. It starts early when a child draws a picture and asks an adult or another child, but often an adult, "Do you like it?" So many adults enthuse about the picture, "How wonderful, what a beautiful picture," and so on. I have read a number of articles, been to workshops, and seen the effect in the classroom of the pernicious effects of praise. And I will say those kinds of responses do not foster a child's ownership of the art. It is dependent on someone else's acceptance. Doing their best is based on someone else's standard. So can kids really tell what their best effort is without input from others? Part of our curriculum was to teach kids how to form letters. When that page was complete, we would go around and we would ask them which letter they thought was their best. With the exception of a mere handful of times over 20 years, we agreed with their assessments. Another story from the playground. At the end of recess, kids were meant to pick up the sand toys and the riding toys and put them in the shed. One day, 2 of the girls came to me and said, "Mrs. Rose, come see what we did." I went with them to the shed. They had done a great job of putting the toys away. And what I said was, "You put the sand toys in one basket and the housekeeping toys in another." Their reply was a proud yes. They owned it. So these stories are about young children, but we were once those children. Do we need others to tell us when we have done a good job at something? Do we need a trophy to tell us we have done well? Do we need someone to lose for us to win? Are we doing our best? Don't we know when we have done our best, when we have fallen short? Is what we do good enough? Are we good enough? Little Alice in the Miss Rumphius story does not know how she will contribute to making the world a better place, and the OK stick figure is not adept at any activity. Yet they reveal that part of childhood is to have time and space to figure out their abilities and interests. One thing about getting older, and not just older, but becoming an adult, is that along the way we find out what our interests and abilities are, and we can accept them. Socrates said succinctly, "Know thyself." The Tao Te Ching states, "Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom." Shakespeare wrote, "To thine own self be true." Knowing ourselves, we do not have to stress about the things we cannot do. So another side of good enough is doing our best while acknowledging personal strengths and weaknesses. We are each as different internally as we are externally, so how do we see ourselves? Are we doing the best we can, given our information, skill set, or other limitations? Like Colin and Eric from our story earlier, we have innate individual differences. No matter how much we try, Colin and I will never have Eric's artistic ability. But doing our best means not letting others define our lives. We each have skills, interests, and abilities that are likely to be complementary with the skills, interests, and abilities of others. I am not musical, even though I have cousins who are amazingly talented pianists, and my sister could spontaneously sing harmonies with songs she had never even heard before. Not I. I am good enough at singing. I am good enough at casual drawing. I am an enthusiastic appreciator of music and art. I am best at being a great audience. As an adult, when I finally got old enough and bold enough, I once said to my mother, as she was criticizing someone for not matching her standard of clothing or body style, I said, "Different sizes, different shapes, different interests, and different abilities. We are not meant to be cookies cut from the same cookie cutter." Doing our best does not mean being the best. Peter Heller's protagonist in his book, The Dog Stars, says of his beloved but deceased dog, "You loved it here, Bud. Walk down to the river below the town park and throw the stick in the current. You weren't too good at the stick or swimming. Loved it anyway. We should all be like that, huh?" Sometimes doing our best is just enjoying. We can strive to find our personal bests or to reach our personal bests. I've said for years that the day I manage sound here at Emerson perfectly, that will be my last day on the AV committee. And decades later, I'm still trying. But we can also accept in whatever instance, whatever that may be, we did our best at that time, and doing our best is good enough. Well, lacking in real musical or artistic ability, and many other limitations, another thing I have learned about myself along the way is I'm not really a joiner. I tend to like small grocery stores, small groups of people. I prefer to work in the background. Still, I've been a member of Emerson for close to 40 years, although it took me almost 10 before I joined. In all these years, I have not found any community with whom I feel I have more shared values. It is my church community, my religious community, my church home. Well, I've recently been involved in a couple of conversations when the question was raised that if one was not socially active in a very active present sense in the social issues of our time, how could one be a real UU, a real Unitarian Universalist? Over the years of my membership, Emerson Church's participation in social action has evolved from encouraging individuals to make the world a better place through their own chosen actions and philanthropies, to taking action on social issues as a church community. I am very supportive of that direction, but I am not a crowd person. I have other abilities, but mass activity has never been one. Large-scale participation is not what I do best. Suddenly, I am in a morass of comparing. So after all these years, am I good enough to be a UU? Do we have a hidden checklist of who is acceptable? We say that UUs celebrate diversity, but do we? Does diversity only include race, gender, socioeconomic status as large categories? Does it only count if we are active on a broad stage? What about the day-to-day connections with people with whom one comes in contact? What about trying to find and develop connections with people who hold different political or religious persuasions? Is action on a micro level not as valuable or important as action on a macro level, as marching, as etc.? Our first UU principle addresses honoring the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Every person. So although I'm not a marcher or a rallier, and my UU outreach may be less visible, it is no less valid and no less real. I do my best on a small-scale as a small-scale personal connections person. Our Kilgore lecture speaker this spring, Dr. David Eagleman, gave a talk on how a neuroscientist sees politics. One thing I took away from that lecture is that small-scale person-to-person contacts can also have a valuable positive impact on changes to societal conflicts. He told of a study involving 3 clans that were bitter enemies. Each clan member in each clan was randomly assigned to one of 3 groups so that each clan consisted of members of the same 3 groups. It turned out that animosities largely disappeared among those clans because the groups in each clan felt kinship with their group members in the other clans and were unwilling to hold on to previous hatreds. How could they hate their group relatives? And remember, the group members of each clan were randomly chosen. Dr. Eagleman also held out hope that our currently grievous fractures in American politics might be reduced by finding common ground with people with whom we disagree, starting with small steps. Small connections can make a difference. As an aside, I have also heard that the surprising failure of the Afghanistan pullout could partly be ascribed to the feeling of kinship among the Afghani soldiers. Family members who were loyal to the Taliban would point out that they were kin. How could they take arms against them? And many Afghani soldiers didn't. Of course, that's not the entire story. I have also heard a suggestion that corruption on higher levels with inflated numbers of soldiers in order to collect more funding was a factor. Geopolitics is complicated. So on a macro level, a micro level, I expect we come to Emerson UU Church because of the values we share. We come with different skills and abilities. Some are more visible in their social outreach activities, some quietly active. We come to share what we can do, where we can do our best. Insofar as we have shared values and have chosen Emerson as our church home, we are a chosen family. We love the connections we make here. The wording of our covenant starts with the words, "this beloved community." Of course, we know that our birth family members, we are not all alike. But when we have a chosen family, frequently it is because we identify with those family members as like us because of the things we have in common. In a church family, that includes shared values, principles, and concerns, not race, background, education, gender identity, or any visible differences. In the ways that matter to us, we are alike. However, I have noticed in many personal relationships, the more we individually or as a group identify with another person or group or church and commit to them on whatever level, the more we think that person or group should be like us. It doesn't really work that way. We may be setting ourselves up for disappointment. We are a multifaceted people, and our church is multifaceted as well. We share values, but may express them differently. Among us, we have at least Buddhist and Christian UUs, atheists and humanists. We have people who are interested in theology and people who don't want to hear the word God. We have people who are focused on social justice of many kinds, LGBTQ, homelessness, racial equity, criminal justice, women's rights, climate and ecology concerns. We have people who are looking for a place to belong. We have people who are vocal and people who work in the background. We are old and we are young. We have children and we do not. We have been here a short time or we have been here a long time, and yet we are a beloved community. We are alike and we are different. Our current covenant says, "We are a beloved community of faith, reason, and affection that welcomes all to grow in mind and spirit as together we make a better world." Our website homepage says, "With a deep commitment to honoring the inherent worth and dignity of every person, we come together as a congregation of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. We are unified by our shared search for spiritual growth and our historically strong commitment to social justice." In the General Assembly final worship service from a few weeks ago, there were a number of comments by one speaker or another, and I'm sorry I couldn't keep up with who said what when, but I was jotting some notes. I found several comments germane to what I wanted to say today, even though I had already started to write these reflections. I wish I'd made a slide of these. We are more than a community of social action. We each have a part to play. We are partners. May our shared experiences be a blessing. You belong. Yes, we are good enough as we do our best to fulfill our covenants with one another. And yes, we need people whose interests and abilities are to rally, to march, to protest, to speak out, to educate, and to inform about the multitude of injustices we are finally starting to recognize and own. If that is where you do your best, where you feel effective, we are all grateful for that. And yes, we need people whose strengths lie in less visible connections, who are reaching out to make life better for others and more inclusive on a smaller scale. If that is where you do your best, where you feel effective, we are grateful for that. We are a diverse group of people in our strengths and our styles, and together we are a beloved community. Together we are a whole. There is space and a place for all. Please stand as you're willing and able to sing our closing hymn, "Just as Long as I Have Breath." Please be seated. Our closing words are responsive, Enter the Circle by Dory J. Summers. So in the continuing spirit of participation and inclusion, and hoping that the oxygen is keeping your brains alert, please join me by reading the italics. Let us enter into the circle of energy and love.
All are welcome here.
We are an inclusive community of faith and kindness, memory and hope.
All are welcome here.
We are a community with a deep and abiding trust in the promise of goodness in every human heart and soul.
All are welcome here.
We are a community of quest where we gather to study and search.
All are welcome here.
We are a community of service where the gifts we give and receive are compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, and devotion.
All are welcome here.
We are a community of joy and laughter where the worth of every individual is celebrated.
All are welcome here.
Amen. We have some special announcements today.
They're special, but they're always special. These are quite typical announcements, y'all. Don't worry. Jill, thank you so much for that message. We needed it. I do always have announcements out the ears. I'm going to talk as quickly as I can because I know we want lunch, but please listen. Number one, don't forget to move slowly as you leave. Talk to someone new, grab a snack. This is social hour. If you're online, check the YouTube comments now. There should be a link to Zoom Social Time with Marilyn. Again, Marilyn, thank you so much. Number three, after social time, or really whenever your stomach decides, you can join our lunch bunch over on Bering and San Felipe, literally like 100 yards that way, I think, at Zoe's. It's at Zoe's Kitchen. You'll find it. I promise. Folks will begin heading there 15 minutes after the service. So social hour, 15 minutes, make your decisions. I encourage you to stick around for as long as you like. Number four, throughout the month of August, myself and Dory Wolf, our beloved board president, will be co-facilitating a Common Read book group. Common Read is a UUA tradition. On Thursdays, where we will dig into the book Defund Fear, Safety Without Policing, Prisons, and Punishment, and explore how we as a congregation can make commitments to each other's safety in ways that prioritize those of us most marginalized by the criminal punishment system. And sign up is required in advance to attend. So for the sign up link, check your e-blast, email me, or once again, accost me after the service. We've already got several members and non-members signed up, which I'm excited for, to learn with us. And I promise you don't want to miss this. Number five, with a heavy heart today, I want to let you know that we're saying goodbye and congratulations to our office administrator for communications, Alejandra Gonzalez. Can we please clap for Ale again? Yeah. Many of you do not yet know Ale. Please say thank you to her on her way out. You might not know her because she works Monday through Friday, but you have read her e-blast, her newsletter, probably other emails. You've benefited from her work for years. Thank you, Ale. I'm going to miss you. Number six, starting soon, we have a Bible study group. It's called Bible Study Group Without the Dogma. It's at 7 p.m. on Mondays on Zoom. From September 19th to October 24th, and that's going to be led by Emersonian Mike Condit. Is Mike here? Yeah, I'm excited for this. Y'all can check your e-blast or the website for more information. And finally, for those of you who have never been here before, or those who have yet to take that next step into membership at our church, I want to encourage you. Today's the day. Grab a yellow card from the table, or in the pews. If there's no more at the table, you can come back in and check. If you fill it out, write me your name and as much information as you can bear to share. I will reach out to you ASAP. 2 weeks from today, we'll have our August open house, which is a chance for visitors, friends, and members, y'all, for real, members, please, to come and share some stories, learn about what membership means, tell about your experience in the church. and get a sense of whether you want to sign our official membership book. I'd love to see you there, and that goes for all of y'all who've been here 70 years as well. Like, please come and meet new folks. We all have a part to play in welcoming new visitors. That's it. That's all the announcements. Thank you for listening. Yeah, claps for Audrey to stop talking. Yeah. Please rise one last time in body or spirit as you can and wish to close out our service with hymn number 113 from the gray hymnal, Where is Our Holy Church?
I hope not. It's not that one.
It's not that one, y'all, but please do rise.